Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hello.
Once again, it has been about a minute since we've been on the air, so I want to say sorry for that, and we are going to try to make a conscious effort to be more involved.
And a little bit more like in
Regular.
a timely fashion.
Regular.
Yes, exactly that.
Regular. Like,
I think it's probably been about 3 weeks.
that, I know, it's probably been more.
Ah.
But, and as I'm talking to you right now, I think I've even forgotten the topic that I was going to say.
But the thing is, my sweet, my darling, you were going to start the topic and then I was going to follow suit.
Oh, that's right. I was going to start the topic. So, I think what I want to talk about is about doing good. And it is really that concept of good perpetuates good or propagates good. I don't know which one you want to use. I want it to be a focus of not about what I'm against, but what I'm for.
I like that.
And I think we need more of that. And so that is really the topic for this podcast.
I like that a lot. And can I just ask you to say again what it was that you posted on your Facebook? The exact quote?
So my topic or what my statement was, I had a couple statements, but the last one was really do all the good that you can for as long as you can.
Yeah.
And that really, I think, kind of encapsulates kind of what I'm feeling right now. And not that I wasn't feeling it before, but I really think I'm feeling it now. And I think that it's an appropriate time to really look at it and really say, look, what is everybody doing for the greater good and for the higher purpose? And every day, on an everyday basis.
Well, and I rather like that because it just reminds me of how easy it is to, even if you're not actively doing good, to do no harm. And then we realize how easy it is really, if we think about it, to do a little bit of good here and there. Like, for instance, it was Gay Pride weekend here in San Francisco, and we had a wonderful time. We volunteered at the VIP party at City Hall in San Francisco, and that was wonderful, and all of those things. And when we were taking the BART home, Chris and I, a homeless person who was in a wheelchair kind of wheeled up to us and chatted us up a little bit and said that she hoped that we'd had a wonderful time at the Pride celebration.
Which we had,
and all of those things. And without her even asking, well, maybe she did ask, was if we could contribute a little something to her. And usually I don't hand out money to homeless people.
Lex is usually the sucker of the two of us.
But it was also so easy for me to say, you know what, here is $2. It was $2 out of my pocket. That probably meant a lot to her. And that was an easy gesture. It was a loving gesture that I could easily make, and that made a difference to her. And so
that was all the good that you could do for that moment. Yeah.
And we also spent the time chatting with her, and she with us, and she shared her life with us and us with her. And I thought it was a lovely exchange. And I don't know, but
I did not hear that lovely exchange because of all of the BART trains going back and forth.
I know, but I'm just all that to say that sometimes that do good doesn't really take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot. And whether that's time or money or a kind word that you can share with somebody, it's meaningful.
I agree. And what I would add to that is basically there's a lot of us and them, and I do believe that, what I put on my post really kind of relates to what we can do for the greater good. And it's not necessarily in opposition, but it is for something. And I think that's really what's called for right now. It is like, what are you for? What are we for? What are we doing? And it's not to be against somebody, because if you really think about it, we are all connected. We are.
We are all connected.
I mean, yes.
Whether we like it or not.
One way or another, it is interwoven. We are interwoven, and there are those degrees of separation. So I challenge everybody to say, how are we connected, and how can we help each other? I mean, that's really it. And that is what feeds the soul. What doesn't help and what doesn't feed the soul is the negative thoughts and being against something.
The divisiveness.
So really, like, what are you for? So really start thinking about, what are you for? What are you championing?
I think that's a really good point, Chris. Like, what are you actively for? And not necessarily what you are like, oh, I'm against this, I'm against this, I'm against this, I hate this. But what are you like, this is what I want to support. This is what I actively want to champion.
Yeah, and I think that is the dialogue that we want to hear.
Yes.
In this country right now. I think that I was listening to a talk show, and I listened to several talk shows, and I think that really listening to everybody's point of view, but really understanding at the end of the day, this could be kind of cynical. You're not necessarily going to change somebody's point of view. You're not. You're just not. So you have to do you. You have to be who you are. And like my daddy said, is like, people are going to do what people are going to do. Yep. And you're not going to change that. You just simply aren't. So what you have to understand about yourself is who you are.
What are you going to do?
And what your purpose is.
Yeah.
And really manifest that. And not worry about changing somebody else's attitudes or this, that, and the other. Because what you do on a small scale affects on a larger scale. And so that's really the message that I want to leave everybody with, is that just being you is enough. And that's no small task within itself.
Exactly that.
So with that, I think that's definitely something to kind of think about and carry with you.
I think that is very true. It's something that we all should think about, and certainly gives me food for thought as to what I will sort of carry forth. Like when in all of my dealings with people, whether that are, dealings with people, homeless people at the BART station, or people at work, or, it just gives me food for thought.
So with that, we leave you, and we will see you again very soon, not so in the far distant future, I think. Okay.
Good night, all.
Good night.